Hello, kiddos. I want to talk about something really quickly. I didn't finish watching this lady react to this video, but I just heard the beginning part of it, and I felt like talking about just the beginning part of the video that she's reacting to. She's reacting to a TikTok video, and it's a black woman that's talking about God is not real, because if God was real, then all of this stuff would not be happening, like people getting molested, human trafficking. She's not talking about just, crimes in the street and stuff like that and gangbanging. She's talking about higher level stuff. When you talk about molestation, okay, and all these people get off, but you go to a higher level, like who's making the rules? Why are the 1% still in power? Human trafficking, organ harvesting, drug trafficking, and a lot of these people are in very high places, okay? And the thing is, there is a God that is in power. See, I think the problem with a lot of the Christian church is that they feel like it's just one God. God is a title. It's going to have to get to a point where people start to get some knowledge, revelation knowledge, get some knowledge. It's going to have to come to a point when people get some knowledge. There is a God in power, but it's not the God, it's not necessarily that God of the New Testament, okay? The reason why is because people have a choice of what they allow to continue to happen. People don't want to take responsibility. This world, what I realized in these last 4 years is that this world does not have to be the way it is. People continue to agree with it. Even when you listen to people like David Icke and other folks that, not religious or whatever, they would tell you when he was going on and on about COVID, the vid, COVID, and other stuff that they kept trying to push on humanity. Humanity had an option to say they did not want it. But what it is, you have a collective that always want to follow the rules and go along and get along, even if it's at the expense of their own soul. The stuff they were pushing with the COVID, in my opinion, will literally separate you from the Most High. Okay? It will literally separate you. I literally saw where COVID is an AI. It is an AI. It's a sentient being. It can feel just like everybody else. It's a sentient being. And they wanted to, you remember I made a video saying that people will be the robots. That's what I meant right there. This COVID was going to join with the person's bodies, and the person was going to eventually become like a robot. Okay? Or, well, I have to get more into my experience over the last 4 years that I can definitely tell you that they wanted to turn people into a robot. But the COVID could be a different kind of DNA too. So I don't want to get into the robot with COVID, but what I do know is that is it's an AI. Artificial intelligence is alien intelligence. Artificial also means alien. Okay, alien intelligence. And the alien invasion that people kept talking about in 2021, 2022, they kept talking about that alien invasion. Well, that to me, that was with the COVID. That was the alien invasion. A lot of people took whatever they had to do. But anyway, my point is the saying that when a person says it's not in the God, because see, the thing is, I agree with the way she is saying it. Here's my point. I agree with the way that lady was saying it. But that's because she doesn't understand is that there are many, many gods. With the God that's ruling is not the one that you learned about in the New Testament. And I want to give Wayward Renegade Witches blog some credit. You need to go back to that Old Testament God, that God of vengeance. That God is, you got to be willing. So you can't go this sweet, nice way. You got to be willing to take out whole generations because there's so much evil that you got to take out a whole generation. When you saw where Joshua and different people were conquering the lands in the Old Testament, they were taking out everybody. They didn't even want to leave a child alive. Okay, and then what happened was Saul was supposed to, King Saul, the first king, Saul was supposed to take out this king's son, but Saul chose to left this son alive. And so because Saul chose to leave the king's son alive, They paid for it. So I want to give Wayward Renegade Witches Block some credit. You got to go back to that Old Testament one. You got to be ruthless with what's going on right now, because it's out of control. But that's because people kept going along with everything. It's out of control because people go along with everything. See, I said this before, and the lady's response was, the lady who was reacting to the video, her first initial response, because I didn't watch the whole video. Her video was like longer, and I just listened to her first response, so I didn't hear everything that she had to say. But what I did hear her say is that it's something, everything happens for a reason. And that's not going to work for me. You can't sit back and say everything just happens for a reason. Now, I'm not criticizing this lady, but you can't. These people who was like doing all this harm to innocent people, doing all this harm to the world, doing all this stuff with the water, the ocean, the seas, the trees, the stuff that they're doing with life, they are literally destroying life. And I can't accept this. There's always a reason. I get that there is a reason for everything, but I just don't like to stop there, because there is a reason for it. It's a reason for it, but I don't like to stop there. And I don't think she did, because she got a whole video to watch, and I just stopped right there. I don't like that. That's not going to work when people are constantly dealing with loss and loss and loss. And when they do try to fight the court way or whatever, they end up losing the battle. I'm going to tell you why they lose the battle. It's because the ones that are in charge, their gods are ruling. People have to go supernatural with this. See, other folks are just fighting in their own strength. Even when you have people who practice voodoo and all this other stuff, they understand that too, that you're going to have something powerful to go against a machine. But this kind of machine right here, see, you need to have more people with that kind of God in them. But you're going to have people at this point, you're going to have people with that ruthless God, but ruthless in a way that's going to stop all this stuff. Like, you can't even let children, if you have something like this, rulers of the world, people in the top 1% that have to keep people poor so they can stay where they are. You have to get everybody, including their babies. Even if you say a baby of theirs, you got to be ruthless with them. You have to be ruthless. And a lot of people who are supposed to be the good Christian with God, they empower. Is everything happened for a reason now? You got to bring, because that ruthless, that God of vengeance from the Old Testament wasn't talking like that. That God from the Old Testament was not talking like that. The issue I kind of have with the Old Testament is that there's just a hatred for women. They look like a clear hatred for women. It looked like the men kind of got away with a lot of stuff, and the women were called whores for doing the same thing that men do. Okay, so the only issue with that is that I saw that women were property. Okay, but other than that, you got to be ruthless, but ruthless in a good way. So yeah, the when you go to church, like some churches, they just talk about this God that's generous and loving and kind and long suffering. Then you have to be long suffering. You're expected to be long suffering when you continually see child trafficking, human trafficking, organ harvesting, all this stuff. The taxes, this stuff with the IRS. Spirit told me many, many times you should not be paying taxes. Spirit has told me that so many times that taxes are really illegal. You should not be paying no doggone taxes. It's illegal. But what are people going to do about it? They're going to have to bring the Most High back. The Most High lives inside the people, and that's the problem. A lot of people are conforming to the world. And so when you have so many people who conform to the world instead of having the mind of what you would call Christ, and I'm not talking about the European looking one on the cross, and I'm not even talking about the black one, the black man Christ. It's literally a state of consciousness. Anytime I see Christ or Christ consciousness, I see a light. I'm not seeing a person. Or sometimes I see a sun, but one thing I do not see is a person. I don't see a person. So I'm not going to put on say the white man is Christ. It's not the black man. I don't see a person at all. Okay, and so when you get into that type of consciousness, when you choose to have that, to focus on a Christ-like type of mind, and you have more people who are operating in a Christ-like type of mind, then you won't have so much. That's what's going to dominate. So it's really all about the doggone people. It's really about the people. And I'm going to talk about the women with great mother. When you have, and you don't have to be like biologically a female. You can even have like what you call a male. If they have the mind, people in general collectively decide to have the mind of the great mother, then the great mother is going to reign. Okay? And you're going to have, so the mother's going to be in power. And you can have the dark mother in power, or you can have that generous, long-suffering mother. Right now, you need the dark mother in power. You need a ruthless, dark mother in power that ain't about to take no crap. That generous mother is for later, when everything is already at peace. And you can have that generous mother reigning when everything is at peace. Right now, you need the dark mother. And right now, we need the dark mother because it's too much of a hatred for the feminine. Okay? I don't mind the Father God. I don't mind a generous father. I'm not against the father, but what I am against is the hatred of women. You can't be mad at me. I can't live every day, first of all, my color, United States of America, and then my gender, or whatever. And so I have to go around the world being hated over every day because of my complexion and because of my gender. And that's why I say I refuse to put up with that. And so we got to get ruthless with this. We got to get ruthless. And it's time for the dark mother. Because I think the generous masculine father respects the woman. I really feel like that. I feel like the dark part of the father, the dark part, hate women and homosexual. And I'm not against homosexuality, but it's too much of a push for homosexuality. If somebody is attracted to the same sex, just let them be attracted to the same sex. But why would you have to make it like a religion? They make it like they're making the LGBTQAI IA, they're making it politics, like they're making it like Democratic Party, Republican Party, then you have the LGBTQIA. Like they're making it a party. They are like literally bullying. I saw during the last administration, they were literally bullying people. Bullies. They were like the folks in Sodom and Gomorrah. See, you don't have heterosexual people doing that. Now, you do have some heterosexual people that are against people who are homosexual and they bully them. Now, that's a problem right there because that's a bit extreme. It ain't none of your business when somebody chooses to do with their own life if they're not hurting you. So to me, that's extreme right there. Okay, you let the Most High judge them. If what they doing is wrong, you let the Most High judge them. Unless they're hurting somebody else, leave them alone and let them live their life and let the Most High judge them. That's not for people to, But I'm seeing these men like the men, and specifically the men, like the men in Sodom and Gomorrah. Like when Lot invited those angels to come into his house because the angel was trying to rescue Lot and his family from Sodom and Gomorrah. Because that was Abraham's nephew. Okay, so the angels went to hurry up and get Lot and his family before they burned the place down. Well, with fire and brimstone or whatever. What is it? Not fire. What is it called? Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. And so, but while the angels were in the house, you had all these gay men, young and old, right? It was saying, and it was all the men, all of them, A-L-L, all. See, the problem is not all. It does not work when you have too many. I don't like not all. I know people say they don't like to generalize, and I used to be that way. But when it's too many, don't even say not all. When it's too many, because what's happening is that not all people don't have any power. So I don't even want to give them credit. They don't have any power because the place was so filled with filth that not all people just could not do anything. They just sit there and just, live their life the best way they can, but they can't do nothing to stop it. So it's no need in even acknowledging them. It's no need in this giving them credit, right? So, but these men came beating on Lot's door saying, let us see these men so we can have sex with them. And now here goes the hatred for the feminine and the disrespect of the feminine. Lot said, don't do this wicked thing. Here, take my daughters, they're virgins, do to them whatever you like. He was willing to sacrifice his daughters just to make sure that, because homosexuality to him is just what you call it. What's that word that you call it? It's just extremely wicked, but it's another word for it. Okay, it's another biblical type of word for it that I just forget at this time. So he's willing to have his daughter sacrificed and let these men do whatever they want to do to his daughters. That's what I'm talking about, this hatred for the feminine. Okay, so that was that dark masculine God that was ruling, that hated women. Now you have a light masculine, you have a light father, a loving father that probably respect, and it's more balanced. I think with the more of the heavenly father, the father that's light, it's more of a balance. Okay, and it's this time I feel like it's time for the dark mother to come in, and when a dark mother come in, it's going to be a lot of stuff. It's going to be ruthless, but it's time, okay? Because we can't just go on with this hatred of women, and we can't go on with all this other stuff that's going on, okay? But like I said, just to finish that story about Sodom and Gomorrah, it had to be destroyed. And that's what we see going on now with that last administration. We saw that happening all over again. It was getting to the point where it was going to get that bad, to the point it was unbearable. That's where it was going, because I saw where it was getting unbearable. But anyway, I just want to talk about that really quickly. Yeah, I get her point. What she's saying, all this stuff happening and people just keep getting away with these kind of crimes, and they get away with it because they got money and all this stuff. That you have a different set of gods that's ruling right now. Okay, you have a different set of gods, and all they got to do is you just do something, and you show you're a part of this organization, and you just get off. Even if it's grape, a red rum, murder, whatever it is, you're part of this organization, you protect it, you get off. Your money long, you get off. Who you connected to, you get away with it. Okay, so that's showing you there is a God that's ruling, but what kind of God is it? You just thinking of this one God that you heard about in Christianity. Okay, but anyway, that's it, and I'll talk later.